I know, right? I cannot believe how foggy my head feels all
I'm glad I'm not alone, but I'm sorry that you're suffering.
the time.
I know it's like short wired all the time. Can't focus. Everything seems overwhelming.
And just trying to think through something. You don't seem to get to the end. It doesn't come together.
No, because there's so much coming at you from all sides, whether it's related or not. There's so much in here going on all the time, and to filter what comes out in words is a big task. Pick the right words, and then to even finish a thought without losing your train of thought.
Yes, I interrupt myself in my own head.
Right? Yeah.
There are like 1,000 things, and they're just zinging through and pinging off one another. It's just crazy. And then trying to think through again, trying to put together a complete thought about something that you want to say or to reason something out, and then I just feel this fog, this emptiness.
And that,
It's one extreme or the other,
yes,
right?
I was going to say, and that's when I describe it as the, and the drool is literally dripping out of my mouth because there's just nothing. Well, it's everything. That's what it is. It's everything. It's not nothing.
Mhm.
It's a constant fog.
And then you just get to the point where you start to sort things and you start to put them aside, and then something else comes that puts you right back in.
Court is adjourned, scheduled for a month later for election and plea. A month later comes. Oh, court is adjourned for a month later, election and plea. Oh, we're going in for NCR. Oh, here's the review board hearing. And then on hold for decision. And then you
For
get
a
the
long time.
decision. It was over a week.
Yeah.
And then we get the decision, and I don't even think we had time to chew it up. It was just like a little bit of
It
a
was
It
something.
was a little bit of a and it was like, yeah. And it was like, okay, now let's get on with life. And oh, hang on, we're gonna appeal this. So then it's another hiccup to hear that news and to wait for that to come along. And then that whole thing happens and throws you.
Mhm.
Each event throws for at least that whole day.
Oh, yes. The hearing in January for the review board hearing, that was intense. I mean, 3.5 hours of just severe, and then the rest of the day was just brutal. It was awful.
Part of it is listening to their lingo, the way they talk.
Trying to figure out what they're saying.
Yeah, and like you're like, oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. Oh, wait, no, no, he's on the other side. No, no, I don't like you. It's all the loopholes that they talk through and weave through, and
And then it's just completely draining. By the end, you're just exhausted and no no energy left.
it. I mean, I've never been in a car accident, but it's like I just need a moment to absorb this impact. What just happened? What? You're talking to me? I'm really glad that everybody in my family was able to log in for that and to see for themselves and not just me having to
Right.
relay it and relay it every different time. It
Right.
was so much nicer to have the phone call afterwards with everyone who had witnessed it and we could just go at it.
We
It's
all
not
knew.
a
Yeah.
describe the event and then go at it. It's no,
We all heard the same thing at the
right.
same time. And
And
that was
then,
the first time we got to do that.
yes, yeah, because up until December, all of my family is far away, but up until December, even they discouraged me from attending in court. Yet this gentleman is attending college classes, but we can't attend court because of COVID. COVID doesn't go to school, but it does go to court. I just feel like the other night we didn't illustrate well enough for the impact, and I don't think we ever could.
We can't. But again, it's that fogginess where you start to tell a story and then it's just sidetracked and it's gone.
Well, because there's so many layers. So to me, it's yes, I got sidetracked. Yes, I lost my train of thought, but there's so much to cover that it almost doesn't matter because anything coming out is good. But I mean, on these, we are trying to have a focus for each. And yeah, well, I don't want to speak for others, and I don't expect you to. But definitely when we got off that, it was like, why didn't we talk about writing the impact statement?
Right, because that was brutal. It was brutal. It was a huge impact in itself. Impact on.
For me, I feel like it was almost forcing me to accept the reality of what happened because for for the most part, I always try to have this positive spin on things. I am still alive. I am still here. I am still feeding, dressing, showering myself. I am still caring for my son. My the boys were not touched. So what more could I ask for? So I have to spin this, you know, well, I won and I don't understand what happened, but you know, it happened as best as it could. So I have like, you know, everyone has these comments, for example, why would you go outside? I hate that one. I don't know why I went outside. That was just my instinct. I didn't think about it. I just thought he would run away as soon as he saw me. I did not think about it. So I don't like that question. And now I've lost my train of thought there. But I I don't know. Yeah, so we went to do the impact statement and so let's set it up. So for that, I drove from Grand Prairie down 12 hours to get to you
Yes.
in one day. Gross. On Christmas Eve. I
Mm-hmm.
drove down on
Mm-hmm.
Christmas Eve
Mm-hmm.
and got there after dark and yeah, well, I mean, I was there for a mission to write this horrible thing, so it wasn't about Christmas. I didn't get to have my son. He was at his dad's,
Right.
so that took away from celebrating Christmas. Even if I hadn't gone down, I have no family here. Like, I would have been alone here in the house. So it was better. You know, I always say things happen for a reason. So it was nice that we had this project that I had to tackle, and it worked out that Declan was away.
Which allowed us to tackle full force.
Right.
Mhm. And we did get Christmas afternoon together as family and dinner
We did go see
with your,
my sister and her family, and
which was awesome.
we did get to put it aside. We were
Oh, yeah.
distracted with the kids.
Yes.
We did
Yes.
absolutely recognize Christmas and have the gift exchange and the wonderful dinner and good times, right? Like I
Yes.
feel I like
Christmas.
even thinking about, like, I wasn't overwhelmed with our mission. We were able to enjoy those moments.
Yes. I think we worked on it in the morning
We did.
and then went over, I don't know when, but in the afternoon sometime.
I only had 3 full days there. So I wanted to at least work at it a little bit each day. So yeah, we did work on it Christmas morning. And then we celebrated Christmas, and I think we picked at it, or maybe we just read it over that night. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we did something with it. Yeah, maybe just read through some things. I don't know.
But Boxing Day, we did morning and then took a lunch break
Yeah.
and then went back into it.
Oh, that was an intense day.
But what I'm getting at, like, okay, so that's the setup, the situation, the time frame and all. You sat with the computer at the table, and I sat on a couch, sprawled out, and just recall and just puked it out.
Mm-hmm.
And puked it out. But I remember saying things like, well, but the boys weren't touched, and those positive silver linings that I look at, and you're like, no, 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 you're sounding like a victor now. You're a victim. This is your victim impact statement. Focus on the victimization.
Right.
Don't be the victor. And that is what, I mean, I had to peel away all the positive, which is precisely what the impact statement is. And oh man, to tear that away and then to actually just dive into the
all of the
depths,
negative, all of the impact, the
to not have someone interrupting to say, oh, but what about this? Oh, but you need to be thankful for that. Oh, but it's just one day at a time, and just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper.
right.
Oh, and I know it was hard on you too. We looked at all the pictures.
Yeah, it was definitely a unique Christmas. Um,
I don't consider it. It was a mission, but
yes, it was a mission, and it was fine with me.
I'm
I didn't mind when we did it. So
so grateful.
anytime that you could do that Christmas.
There's no way I would have got this done on my own. Because for me to sit and type something up is, well, it's such an emotional turmoil that it's immediate frustration. So then it's just, and it's not a good description, explanation, keep the emotion there, but not running away with it. I can run away with my emotions pretty easy. Ask a few politicians.
I think most people can.
Yeah, well, I do try to be professional and respectful, but I'm so fed up. I can't get, I'm appalled. I'm still in shock for sure. Writing the impact statement helped me see the level of shock that I'm in. I thought that it was going to start letting the shock dwindle, I don't know if it has or not because it is in waves, like you say, one thing happens and you're right back into it. But then again, you spend all day living your life and going on, and then here's another phone call or another email or I hit my hand. Whereas sadly, like when Declan will cup my face to say anything sweet or just to kiss me or something, but it's all the scars on this side. I tense right up and I try to handle it, but sometimes I just simply like just don't touch, just don't. And so I try to calmly, like, hey Declan, like all those scars, like I can't. And he gets so upset, and he'll come around, he'll come to understand, but he's very defensive in those ways, like he's trying to be sweet, and I'm like, saying no. I'm not necessarily saying no, I'm just trying to bring awareness.
It's certainly more than I ever would have expected. The after effects. I would have thought by now I would be past. I would be over it. I would be okay, and I'm okay, but and certainly not dealing with things like you are. Um, at first, well, at first, I mean, we were all, I was just devastated and completely shocked. And but after that initial few weeks, I I didn't I didn't think I had the right to feel trauma because it didn't happen to me. I wasn't there. I didn't see it. So, you know, the trauma was what happened to you, and so I wanted to be a support for sure. Um, I just didn't expect that heavy an impact myself,
I don't think any of us could have understood it without.
or that long, to last this long and still feel so and muddy headed.
After this long, and since you share
Because it's
these,
almost a year.
I know, almost a year, um, since we share this fogginess and shock and trauma, and almost a year later, and you're still feeling like drowning sometimes. Do you find it discouraging? Like, when does it ever lighten up?
Mm. I think it will get better. I don't I don't know if it'll ever be completely gone.
I almost don't want it to be completely gone. This is well, this is life altering, and I will spin it to make my life for the better. So it will
Right.
never be gone. But, like even like within the first week of it happening, I remember constantly being warned, or I'm not sure what the word is. But with anyone that works within the court system, works like sees this all the time, right? So they realize that it takes years for this to go through the system. They told me it could be up to 2 years before this finished trial. Well, we never made it
Oh,
to
I never
trial,
went to trial.
but so, but they were constantly discouraging me. That's the word I'm looking for. Not warning me, discouraging me from putting too much into it because they were warning me that victims tend to start to get on with their lives and start to find some joy and distraction and start to get going again. And then all of a sudden it goes back to court. And now we're in the courtroom again and we got to open it all up again and tear it all out again. And here we go again. Well, yeah, that's true. It's absolutely true. And it's very difficult. But I'm not going to let you off the hook for that reason. Like you have almost got the system designed for that. Oh, let's just discourage all the victims. Let's take away all the funding. They won't have any support. And, they'll just give up. Not giving up. Join me. I'm not. And I don't care how many, this could be for the rest of my life. I will follow wherever this takes me. And I hope many of you will reach out to me, whether you're a family member of of something tragic, because that's one point I'm trying to make. Don't belittle your story. Don't think it doesn't matter, because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but from what you just told me, that it happened to me and not to you, I almost get the impression that you felt that you needed to be okay, or I don't know, you're almost refraining from showing or realizing the extent of trauma to you.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah, definitely in the moment when, for example, when we did the impact statement, you just got to do that job, right? And so you dig in and do it. And then it's
Processing.
after the energy is just, it's gone and you're just flattened for days, days.
Heartbroken,
Yeah.
stunned, shocked. I I don't know where I heard it, but PTSD can come simply from hearing the news of something, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no score system for what trauma is. I just can't. I just, I, I'm just totally stunned. Like, I'm just thinking about this appeal hearing that we just watched. And I did post the link, so I am curious. I never heard if anyone did. It would have been neat to have complete strangers log in and give me their feedback, because, I'm just one person giving my what I get out of it, and I'm in shock and trauma, so I don't even, I know I don't grasp everything, and that's why I'm grateful that you guys could log in for January, and I believe most of you did again for this appeal hearing.
Hmm.
Brother, sister, grandmother did,
I was here.
and you were here. And so it's again, it's you can taste it for yourself. You can see how they talk and how they spin circles and how they choose to ignore fact for fluff. they're trying to say that the board went against all of the doctors' recommendations because they felt, right, because they referred to
Emotion based.
emotion, yeah, after hearing the impact statement. So they're trying to discredit the board, saying that they are not professionally making a decision, that it's like they're supposed to be removed, and but that they open their heart to the victim. And but I think you had mentioned that the statement had revealed many facts that the psychiatrist didn't know, and that the head of the hospital didn't know. So it just showed that they're not reading through the police file, they're not gathering all the information, they're simply looking at the patient, and his history since 2020, which I have the same information. And I don't know, this guy's pretty scary to be walking around, I think. Every time I receive an email, I'm still holding my breath, wondering. I don't even know, like, when's the right time to get it. Like, the longer she waits, the longer he's in there. But it also keeps me, like,
On edge.
holding my breath
Yes.
and, like, what's next? And how little I mean, how unimportant my life is, my son's life is. It's all about not offending and not trampling on this patient's rights. But no one can even tell me what made him come into my house and decide to use my kitchen knives to stab the life out of me. And they just say, well, we're injecting medication into him now, so he's safe. He's good to go. I'm like, that gives me no reassurance at all. At all. Falling behind in his classes, heaven forbid. Do court online, but he can't do his classes online. He has to be in person for his classes. I can't get my head around it. It truly is like the system afterward that, like, I really think that by now the attack could be, a little bit put to rest.
Put to rest. Yes.
Like,
If
there's so much unexplained that will never be explained, but I
right.
accept that. But
If there had been a means of closure.
of any kind. But everybody who's involved in this, they go, well, aren't you in counseling? Oh, good for us. Yeah, we got you counseling. Oh, good for me. Oh, she's in counseling. That's all you need. I'm not saying, I'm like, yeah, we need that. I'm grateful for it. But It's not enough. It hardly even scratches the surface. Hardly. I don't know if I should even say this on. I heard that someone in Edmonton stabbed a kid, 12 or 13, recently, and same thing, they've let him off NCR. I need to look into that. This is recent. That it was my son's counselor that told me.
Mm.
Even all
I
that.
wonder if you can even find information really. You know what yours is like,
Yeah, I
right?
know. It would be an article for sure, but I would just see what chains I can rattle. If I could get anything, maybe I could reach out to that family, and that might be a good place to start. Well, I've started here. This is good, but I'm not going to speak for everyone else, but trying to focus on impact to families. So if I can try to focus myself, I'm not speaking for my siblings in any way. All I can do is give my observations, and I hope I don't upset any of them with this. I'm just going to give my observations to try to paint the picture to the public of the impact to family. I don't think any of us are, on bad terms with any of us. It's just we're so spread out distance wise, so we don't speak often. But when we do, we are close. We have a good relationship. Um, I say this with all the love and respect. Like, I really hope I don't upset any of my siblings. I'm just gonna say how I see it. So, my little brother and I became very close a few years ago. He moved out here with us for a few years, and we would chat on the phone a lot and for a long time and late at night. That dwindled, I mean, as we both now have kids and life. Um, but that's like we still try to catch up. I feel like, and I'm not blaming the assault for why we're not talking. I'm sure, like, we're both dealing with our own lives. So, my observation on impact there is, I mean, when I told him, like, I just got the impression ever since that I do believe he is absolutely heartbroken. I do believe he has that brotherly protection desire, but he also has his head on his shoulders and he realizes he's too far away. And even if he came here, what could he do other than to sit with me like we do and just be together, which is still good, but you know, I just feel like he recognizes that what he can do is very limited. And I understand and respect everything. I mean, he's got a lot going on in his life as much as I do. And I'm grateful that he's able to focus on what's in front of him. That's one of my biggest messages is focus on the people who you are with at this moment. Because once one of you are gone, that's it. Um, so I see much heartache and I feel like well, I even try not to talk about it with him anymore because, well, I mean, we all try to be positive, and we've all got our own things going on, and like I say, I can tell that again he's heartbroken, and I want to allow him not to feel guilt that he can't support me, or and I don't want him. I know I put a lot of people in awkward situations with possibly saying the wrong thing because I can really get vocal. But even if I do that, I do walk away with respect and understanding that for the most part, you know, you didn't intend to do that to me. It's just where my head is at that moment. That's another thing. Like, I might react this way in this minute, but if you had waited 4 minutes, I might be a completely different, because everything's flipping so quickly. And so it's hard to give a blanket advice, you know. I just say if you're thinking of me and you want to say something, please say it. And, you know, I'm grown up. I can handle it. And I would rather hear from you than to hear from you when we bump into each other or whatever it is and hear that you're not reaching out because you're afraid to say the wrong thing. Don't do that. My sister, my observations there are very similar. Um, I know that she desperately wants to help in any way that she can. Um, for anyone, I don't know how to ask for help. I don't know what I need. I don't know, and I sometimes when I think I do know what I need, I'm afraid to ask because what if it doesn't actually help? What if it doesn't actually get me anywhere? So I like to be sure if I'm going to ask for help. I'm just kind of sidetracking. I know my sister is cautious with what she says, and I know she doesn't want to hurt me. She doesn't want to say the wrong things. Um, and she has made it pretty clear that even that initial phone call when I told her what happened, you know, like she didn't know what to say or what to ask, or, you know, and similar with all of you not knowing what would be triggered, and not knowing not knowing anything.
And afraid of the answers too. If we ask.
Yeah, that's I have told her when we see each other not to be afraid. I tell everyone, don't be afraid to ask me anything. I do want you to ask. I am very open about it and I want to discuss it. And I'm stuck on these different, you know, tracks or whatever, and it just takes an outside person to say one thing that gets me looking from a different, and it's well, this is refreshing, a different fog. It's true. um Yeah, I think we're all hurting from the distance. Absolutely. That's tough.
And maybe the impact wouldn't be as harsh if we could get together, especially all of us together.
I feel like that's what, yeah, I'm always nervous to say that's what I need, because what if it doesn't actually benefit? Because I'm so sick of everyone saying, well, now you can move on. Well, now we can put this behind us. Well, now this. Well, now.
Well, moving on is not dependent on
I know it would definitely help. It would so help to have a family hug. But my observations from my older brother, I mean, well, I worry about all my family members and how they're dealing with things, but I guess is my reaction. Like, my brother is not okay with this, not okay with any of it, not okay with the fact that I didn't have a knife on me at the time. I remember him making the comment, like, why doesn't this happen to someone like me? Or, like, referring to himself, someone who would be more able to handle such a situation. I meant to mention once too that the day before this happened, and it would have been during the same time frame, so like precisely 24 hours before this guy came into my house, I had a girlfriend visiting me from Peace River, sitting with me chatting, like precisely that time. And her and I have said, oh, if she had been there and the two of us could have had him, like, gone, like, he would have had a different outcome. So crazy how it worked out, you know? But yeah, okay, back to brother. I know he suffers nightmares for sure.
Mm.
I don't even really know. Like, I don't want to speak for any of them. And I know that everyone keeps things to themselves, just as I do. I still say that keeping things from me does not help. It makes it worse, especially when I know you are keeping something from me. Not that my brother specifically, but he, um, hmm, since the first video that mom and I did together, my siblings have reached out and we are talking about doing a video together just remotely. So I hope we can do that because I feel really bad to speak
Mhm.
without them here. And it would
Mhm.
be such a great conversation for me and possibly for them. I don't really know what to say except that none of these videos illustrate what we're going through. There's no possible way. And I hope this is the closest you ever get to experiencing anything like this. But if you have, dreadfully in the future do, I do hope you'll reach out to me. And I don't even know what I have to offer, but I know what the fog looks like, so we can sit there together. Very curious how much you can hear Jack snoring.
I was just thinking that. Jack is the dog.
old, old and broken, Declan says. I do enjoy, I guess, like the humor it's brought out in me. Um, I guess it's twisted it for sure. I guess it's taken away a layer, but it's also added this. I mean, if you can't laugh at things, what have you got? This whole judicial system that we have, to me, looks like children who are still on the playground saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be, and this is how it's going to go. You can't say that. It is unbelievable that you can ignore fact because it might trample his rights after he nearly killed me. Like, like I really should have died that day. Like, it is unbelievable. 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 I know I have more to say, but
Another video, another time.
you feel good? It does help to share the load. Okay, good.
Yep.
All right. Maybe we'll be back.
Cheerio.
Good night.